Sookoo, Kathleen Ayers, and Belle Ami. Ladies, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
Sure. Thank you for having us.
So we're gonna go in reverse order this week and start with Kathleen's book because she's in Vegas, baby, which is where I was in Vegas, baby.
I haven't made a nickel. I've lost every dime I brought.
Well, quit putting those nickels in the machine.
I know, right? Well, actually, it's been dollars. I'm kind of shocked.
Oh, dang, that's even worse.
Oh, yeah. God, that dates me. The last time I was there, I was putting money in nickel machines.
No more nickels. There's no more nickels.
I could do the nickels, but the dollars would hurt too much. So
it's painful no matter what.
Yeah.
Well, let's get your book done so that you can get back to all the Vegas festivities. Your book is Simply Mine.
Yes.
And it's book 3 in the 5 Deadly Sins.
It is book 3.
Which sin is it, and who are these people?
So this is the second. Well, there's 3 brothers. So this is they're twins. He has a twin brother. They're fraternal twins though. They don't look anything alike. And that's kind of a joke that people keep making. They can't figure out how they're related. But Drew is the rake of the family because there's got to be one. But because the family started with nothing, he used his gambling to help provide for them. Right. Because they were sort of left destitute, and he inherits or is bestowed accidentally a farm that he won in a card game like years ago. And the guy has finally died. The only problem is he gets there, he decides he's going to sell the farm. He's going to just get rid of it. And he finds out that there's a widow attached to the estate and she doesn't have to leave. And the only problem is she's not an old widow. She's a young widow. And she does not want to leave the farm. And he wants to sell it, and he can't sell it until she leaves. So it's a classic battle of wills, and I had a lot of fun with them. They each try to get the other to bend, and so they do all kinds of things to each other, which is kind of fun. So I learned a lot about farming in England. So.
Oh, cool! It's farming and agriculture is one of my idlest things. So I love books that have farming in them.
Yes, and she is a working farm. She is not. She's probably very low class. Her father was a drunk, so she's actually works very hard. She does all the farm work herself, plants the crops, oversees everything. So I really had to learn a lot about agriculture in 1840s England. So yeah.
That sounds great. And there are 5 books in that series, so we still have 2 more.
There are 5 books total in the series. After this will be the next brother, his twin, Malcolm, who's been kind of mysterious. He's been living on the continent as a mercenary, so we don't know very much about him. And then the youngest daughter, the baby, her book will be last. Both of those release next year. Yeah.
Great. Okay, so we still have sins left to look forward to.
You still have 2 more sins after this one, yes.
Awesome. So then the book that we had releasing in the middle this week was Sandra's book, and it's Charming Miss Standish.
Today.
The day we're recording, and it's book 6 in the Willful Winterborns.
Yep, it's the last one. There'll be no more Winterborn drama. Because, the latest drama nearly killed me to have to write because that was just, I felt bad for these characters and they're not even real people, In this book, Edmund is the hero. He's the youngest out of the whole extended family. And he's still not reconciled to the big drama that rocked the Winterborn family with, illegitimacy and parents who aren't really parents and that whole thing. So he's kind of rebelling. And he also needs money to fund his life and not have to rely on his, his titled brother. So he goes out and he's looking for an heiress, which would be the ideal thing to find, right? He does find an heiress because he gets into a carriage accident in front of her house. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending upon your perspective, she is blind. And so now he can't rely on his good looks and, his...
Oh, he's got to be charming.
He actually has to be a human.
So yeah, she's blind and she's bored with her life because her dad, protected her from everything, put her in a little bubble. So she's looking for excitement, adventure. She wants, love, a family, So things happen and they agree to a marriage of convenience because, who doesn't like one of those stories? That's one of my favorites.
Mine too.
And the story is set at Christmas time, and who doesn't like a Christmas story? Because that's also one of my favorites. So, the whole family connection is having a connection fit because of this, marriage and everything. But the both of them are bound and determined, and they go away to Brighton for their honeymoon. Unbeknownst to all of them, the dowager countess of all this whole family drama mess is already there in residence, and she's bitter against men because of things that happened. You just have to read the books to figure that out. But as marriage of conveniences go, they get along, they understand each other, all of this, and all of a sudden Edmund finds himself in a hero position, and that's not what he ever wanted to do in his life at all. So, and there's a secret baby. I forgot.
Oh, I love a secret baby.
Yeah, secret baby. So secret baby comes along before they ever get married. So there's this whole thing. And that was a really, really fun addition to this family unit because I think that's because they're all older characters. Mm-hmm. So when you introduce a baby into the older character mix, it's always a really fun time. So off they go to Brighton, secret baby, marriage of convenience, all of that, And it's kind of a suspenseful thing because, there's all these strange little accidents that keep happening to Anna, who's the heroine, because somebody wants her dead. And,
come on, man.
Well, it's the last book of the series. Come on, we had to go out with a bang. So, yeah, that's this whole story. And I got to tell you, as I go along and write books, I always think that the current couple that I'm writing is my favorite. But don't tell the rest of the Winterborns, but I think Edmund might be my favorite of all.
Well, I promise I won't tell.
So, yeah, it's out today, so I hope everybody grabs a copy and then lets me know how you like it because it was one of my favorites to write.
Oh, great. So I know you have a new series coming up, a spicy series coming up.
I do. Well, I've got going on. With Dragonblade next year, I've got the Hastings sisters coming out. It debuts in March, I think. And when I went in there to write it, it wrote a little hotter than what I had intended it, which is fine. We'll do that. And then the year after that, we've got a series about boxing brothers.
Oh, fun.
And then also that year, then I've got a really hot series coming up. It's about, what is it called? Dashing Rogues and Ruined Librarians. That one's coming up in 2025. Yeah, so I'm really excited about that one. But yeah, Hastings Sisters debuts in March. I've already got that first book done. It's due to be turned in pretty soon, which I guess I need to put that on my calendar. But yeah, that one's really fun. I'm really excited about that one. So I hope that everybody will watch out for that.
Awesome. Well, that sounds great. And we're looking forward to the wrap up of the Winterborns as well. So
yeah.
And then the last book that we had released this week is actually the first book that we had released this week, and that's Belle's book, and it's The Luck of the Lion. Can you tell us a little bit about that one, Belle?
Yeah. So this is my first Lion's Den, except for the Masquerade, the anthology. And I was very excited because it was a whole new, I had to fit into the characterization that's already, everybody's sort of there. So I kind of tied it to my anthology because it's the same family and same people. And my hero is Philip Villiers, and he is just discovered he's the heir to the Duke of to the Dukedom of Buckingham. And he learns from the lawyers. It took him a year to find him. His uncle died. He barely knew his uncle because his father was like the black sheep and took him to Europe, to France. And he fought with Wellington, and he fought in the revolution, not the revolution, I mean the Napoleonic Wars. And then he lost his eye, because that's my cover. And he comes back and he doesn't know what he's going to do with his life. And he goes a lot to the Lion's Den, of course. So he hangs out there and is rather friendly with Bessie and Mrs. Dove-Lion. And then he discovers the solicitors tell him that he's inherited the dukedom. So there's only one thing, and that is, it's a little bit like yours. There's only one catch, and that catch is that the Dowager Duchess, who he thinks is the same age as his uncle might have been, the same kind of age, it would be, and nobody clears up anything about it. She is left. She is to remain at the Waverly Castle, and she's to stay in charge of the land and the farming and the husbandry and everything about the whole the dukedom's lands and the managing of it. So she'll teach him, but he is secondary to her in her judgment.
I love that.
Yes, she's very powerful. So obviously the Duke had tremendous faith in her. She did that before. So he arrives, and it turns out that he's sort of like sitting there. He's late to arrive because of a rainstorm, a thunderstorm, and everyone's gone to bed. He was supposed to have dinner with the Dowager Duchess and one of the Duke's daughters who lives there. She's kind of a spinster, and she's the character in the anthology. But anyway, she walks in the room, and he almost drops everything, because there's a painting over the fireplace, and it's of the most beautiful woman he's ever seen in his life. And he figures that's the Dowager Duchess when she was young. She walks through the door toward him, and of course, that's her now. That's her. It's a vision, and it doesn't even do her justice. So this is a really slow burn, because this is a frowned upon relationship. There's no way that they can be together. It was actually prohibitive. So it's all about them getting together, and how Mrs. Bessie Dove-Lion I did something different. I make her, a friendship develops between her and the Dowager Duchess. And she's actually fixing her up with another man, purposely. But
somebody who she could actually be with.
Yes, someone she could be with, but all along she's arranging the other thing. So Mrs. Dove-Lion is a very clever woman. So anyway, that's pretty much, you got to read it and I just woke up. I'm so excited. So it's number one in Renaissance Books. It's number one in Renaissance Kindle, and it's number 13 in Victorian, which is huge.
Awesome.
So I'm so excited.
We love those flags. We love those orange flags. Those are great. Well, awesome. Well, those are lots of books for us to get excited about this week. And Belle, what's next for you?
Well, hopefully I'm going to be doing it. I have another Lion's Den for next year. I think it's next year or whatever. It's coming. And because I love doing it. And then I actually just put together a 5-book pitch to, hopefully I'll be doing it for Dragonblade. It's going to be a whole new series, and it's called Dukes. That's the series title, Dukes. And it's going to be about a hotel called Dukes, and the young 5 sisters whose parents disappear in a sailing sinking, they think anyway, disappear on the English Channel. What?
That's a good way to get rid of parents.
Yeah.
So I get rid of the parents, and they say, I probably won't get rid of them. They'll come back into the story later.
At the very end.
I'll just think. But anyway, the young oldest daughter, it's all girls, and they've inherited this hotel, and they're determined.
Fun.
They're determined to keep it and to, run it. And it's a happening. And the book starts with the oldest daughter. The book will start with a murder in the hotel.
So
and it's a Duke. So,
So we get a dead
and
dude to start with.
starting with the murder. I love writing a thriller. I also write a lot of thrillers and that kind of thing. So I love a little crime in there. Can't be all sweetness.
I know.
And the investigator, the detective, Scotland Yard Scotchman, happens to be the son of an earl, and they will knock heads.
Oh, fun. Well,
So
that sounds
anyway.
like pretty fun. I hope we get to see it.
I hope so.
So the reason that Kathleen is in Vegas, baby, is
Losing money.
was for a conference.
Yes.
And I know Belle was Belle and I were both at HRR just a couple of weeks ago. So I thought maybe we could talk a little bit about, are there conferences? And I'm also doing conference research for Dragonblade this week too. I thought maybe we could talk a little bit about conferences or learning options, things as a writer that you do to both connect with readers or stay in touch with your craft, or figure out what are, like how do you keep the juices going in between the writing times? And I wondered if you guys had any insight into that.
I've discovered something interesting at HR, because this is, like, as you know, a new genre for me, basically. Romance, historical romance. I write historical fiction too and other stuff. But I discovered it's a very interesting readership. These readers that read historical romance are, as you guys already know, are like devoted readers. They love to meet you in person. I found that to be extraordinary. They love to meet you in person, and when they make that connection to you in any way live, they buy your books. They read your stuff, and it's like I can't think of another genre that occurs in the same way. That they.
I love that part about HR, that the authors and readers are so intermingled, so that you get to interact very closely with readers. And I think that to a certain extent, some of that is true of romance in general, that, like we tend to fall in love with our favorites. And I embarrassed the daylights out of myself with Jenny.
I actually have a reader that she reached out to me. So in one of my Barrington books, it's not a Dragonblade series, but he talks about the hero has been to Rome. He tried to be a poet. He tried to be a sculptor. He tried to be an artist, and he's really an engineer, right? He's, wired that way. Anyway, she read that book, and she has done nothing but send me since then. She's been to all the places I mentioned in the book.
Oh.
Because I've been to Rome, and I've done the whole English Quarter and everything. And so she sent me all these pictures. She's gone on. So she and I are now talking, right? Because she's reading, and after every book, she feels like she has to let me know about, what she's, and I so appreciate it, right? Because I feel a real connection with her and everything she's seen, and it feeds into my books. So I try really hard to always, that's what keeps me going, is when I have somebody like that just really appreciates what you've written. It spoke to them on some level. And so the trick is you get a whole lot of people you speak to on that level, right?
That's right.
That really inspires me.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm not sure, because this is a talk for readers, I'm not sure that we can say it often enough. Writing is really solitary. Like, it's an incredibly solitary profession, and hearing from readers is just like the best thing ever.
Best. Yes.
It's just the best thing ever.
I answer every single email. I answer every instant message, every comment. I answer all of them, because I'm so thrilled that they actually like what I wrote.
That somebody took the time to spend time in your world. That's the best gift you can give somebody, is your time.
Yes.
It's great. I work really hard on keeping readers interested and connected on social media, and that's why I do all these little events and put them as a focus, because I want them to connect with my books and connect with me, and all that stuff. And time and time again, these gals will come up and they'll be like, "Oh, I've never read you before, but I picked up such and such a book, and now after reading that book, I'm gonna have to go through your whole backlist." And I'm like, "Okay, well, I'll talk to you later, because that's a really large thing. I'll talk to you in 6 months."
This is 159 for you, isn't it?
This book that came out today, is 159. Yeah.
Wow.
That's an extensive backlist.
Wow.
I don't have that sort of a backlist.
Well, the thing about it is, I didn't start writing historical romance until like 2012. And one of my friends is like, hey, because I used to write contemporary romantic comedy. That's what I started out with. That's what I did. Everybody knew me as, you know, the woman that can make you laugh. And then one of my friends is like, hey, you need to try your hand at doing historical romance. And I'm like, oh, but, you know, Regency, that's not such a big genre, you know, the whole thing. So I started with Victorian, and I really like the Victorian era over the Regency because there's just so much more, you know, technology, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really good at the Regency, it seems like. So thanks to her, you know, I started off in self-publishing, and then now we're here. So, but yeah, it's what keeps me going. I don't know, my schedule. No, it's just, I just love it. I love the plots that you can come up with. I love the different character interactions and how people relate to each other. And then, you know, when you throw sex into the mix, how they have to relate to each other and deal with all the problems that arise from that. And, you know, I really like it. The trouble with the conference thing around here locally is people in Indiana are really, really conservative. And when they, you know, come up to your little library presentations or your little book signings and they figure out that you write the books with the sex in them, they're like, oh, no, sorry. We're going to just pass right by you. So, that's the bad thing about living here in the middle of the country. You know, you don't get exposed to conferences or big conferences. And Lord knows I can't afford to travel with all my shtick across the country, you know.
Do you have another way that you keep up with craft things? Are there books that you
Oh
like?
yeah,
to
I take like what I call continuing education classes. You know, like through there's like a Regency writers group that stemmed off of the RWA before all that went down. So I take classes through them, and I take, you know, different other learning classes, you know, here and there that you pay for, and you get the curriculum and you get all that. So, you know, I keep current on all that because it's just interesting. I mean, I do a lot of research, but there's still stuff I don't know. I you know, that you find out and you're like, oh, that's really interesting. I need to clear the decks and put that in my book now, you know.
The workshops at ARR were things like knot tying and gin distilling.
Right.
And it just seems like things that would be so much fun to learn. So I can understand the idea. And I love, like, I love taking classes. I take more than I should because I love learning new things. And so, like, finding a way to be able to stay attached to your craft and dig deeper is
oh yeah. I mean, right now I think I'm taking one on traditional Regency foods at Christmas time. I think that's what we're doing right now. So yeah.
So what do you know anything yummy yet?
To be honest, I've been so busy here in the last couple of weeks. I've just saved them off to look at them later when I have some downtime. But I can't wait to dig into that because, you know, Christmas romances are my jam. It's like my hobby within writing, you know. Yeah. So yeah.
We have the Dragonblade cookbooks coming up in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
At the end of November. So, like, I'm really excited about that one too.
Yeah.
And to see what recipes that the authors that participated have included in that. So
I was just editing yesterday of those recipes.
What did you include, Belle?
I have a chicken soup, traditional, that the recipe's been forever. My mother made it, and it'll cure anything. So that's part of the shtick in it. And then I also did dill pickles, which are
I love pickled things.
I did.
So do I.
I did spicy German gingerbread. That's what I did.
Oh, the hard kind or the soft kind? The cakey kind?
I do it soft because I don't like it hard. And I also am lazy when it comes to doing that kind of stuff. So I just make them in round circles. I don't cut them out. I don't roll them out. I don't do any of that. So,
but still the cookies, like soft sugar cookie texture.
Yeah, they're soft. And I swear, I make a batch, and my husband, he absconds with them. He won't let anybody else have them. You know.
Ginger cookies are my favorite, but I love gingerbread, the soft cakey kind. You know.
Yeah. So, you know, for years and years, I've had this recipe under wraps, so it's going to be in this cookbook. So,
yay!
Something
else to look forward to.
Mm-hmm. It should be fun.
Kathleen, do you have anything in the cookbook?
No. Okay. I haven't even thought about the cookbook. Hadn't even thought about the cookbook. I'll be honest with you. Like I said, I had a really heavy writing schedule this year, so
Same, yeah.
I didn't do anything but sit in my cave. And I mean, I traveled and I sat in my cave, and that was it. Those are the two things.
It does. After a while, it does seem like a cave, doesn't it? And it gets just dirtier and cluttered, and it's just like, man alive, I need an hour or two.
It does. I just started to do conferences and stuff this year.
That's more than I need to know.
Oh gosh.
Well, since you don't have anything in the cookbook, did you eat anything exceptional while you were in Las Vegas? I've been watching people on the 20 Books thing post pictures of their restaurants in the hotel.
No, I have to tell you, I did not.
I
mean, I came at the beginning of the week with a good friend of mine who likes to gamble, and she and I hadn't been to Vegas together in about 10 years. And the one thing she wanted was a hot dog, right?
Oh, wow. But you're in the food capital of the world.
I know. She wanted one of those, casino hot dogs, and she picked the worst casino possible to have that hot dog in. And
I didn't know hot dogs were a thing.
I'm just going to say right now that after one bite, I went, I don't think.
Oh
I'm
man,
not sure
go
really
visit Gordon Ramsay's restaurant or Bobby Flay or something.
Oh yeah,
we did eat it. We did eat at a nice place last night. But yeah, I haven't. I mean, the conference is like from 8 in the morning until like 5, and by the time you're done, you're just like done.
Exhausted.
I mean, put a bunch of introverts together, 2,000 introverts together for like 8 hours a day, and everybody scatters to their, little caves.
You're like, give me a bag of Cheetos. I'm going to my room. Thank you.
Yeah, there's people going, okay, I can't take any more of this. I have to go upstairs. It's because writers are just very solitary, like you said, and they're it's a lot of overstimulation for us. But it's been lovely. It's been great. I wish I'd won some money, but that's okay.
It's not over yet. You still have time to put some dollars in.
My wallet is empty. So, but I'm not going to complain. When I went to Iceland earlier this year, I did win money on the cruise ship of all places.
Oh, goodness.
I know. So I won a nice chunk of change on the cruise. So I'm not going to complain.
No complaints.
All good. It's all good. But no recipes. Sorry.
All right. Well, you heard her. We should all go to our local casino this weekend in honor of Kathleen then.
Yes.
Play the slots,
I am a
maybe the lottery, not the slots.
I love the slots. I can't help myself.
The slots are so much fun though.
They are. It's like a video game for adults.
It is.
I know, but my Pennsylvania Dutch grandparents would roll over and over and over.
So, it's been. I highly recommend 20 Books if you've never been. It's especially if you're an aspiring author, especially it is. There's a lot to learn, and you get just enough of it so that you can do your own research. Like you can keep going.
And they're lovely about the content. A month after the conference, they put all the content online for free on YouTube. So you can either go to the conference. I know the word conference.
you know that place with all the people.
Right.
Or you can do the virtual one, or you can wait a month and then you'll have access to everything online. I love that. This is kind of really an egalitarian way of
well, and there's so many good classes all being taught at the same time. You can't conceivably you can't visit them all. I've had to be really choosy about what I wanted to learn this go round. So it's a lot. It's a lot. So
we'll try to eat something good while you're there and let us live vicariously through you.
Wait, I'm leaving tomorrow.
You've got one more night.
Got one more night.
We got at least time for 2 more meals. I mean, come on.
Sadly, I am on a deadline, and this is the first day that I've opened my laptop since I've been here. No. And I'm like, oh dear God, I need to work.
That's always very stressful when you have a deadline, but you also have all this other stuff going on.
Yeah. So I'm going to work tonight. It'll be Subway sandwich probably.
Well, ladies, it was delightful to talk to you. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us this week. I'm going to make sure to put the links to the books. I'm going to say the same thing I say every week because it's true this week as it is every week. Dragonblade books are the very best deal on pre-order and release. If you don't get it on pre-order and release, you can always read it in Kindle Unlimited.
Yep.
So thanks so much for taking the time.
You can buy it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, ladies.
Thank you so much.